It's a 90-degree Sunday over here at Perseverance Reef, which is kind of crazy for this time of year. Well, there are a few things that are happening. Unfortunately, there was a bad little piece of news that happened recently in the reef. I had gotten a gold-rimmed tang, and he was gorgeous. I had even videoed him, and I was getting ready to release a video about his acclimation to the system. Now, I do have a powder blue in here, and they are conspecifics. And unfortunately, while things were going really good in the beginning, the gold-rimmed tang decided to kind of get into the powder blue space. They went behind the rockwork, and there just was no chance for the gold rim. The powder blue absolutely shredded him. So, I'd had a lot of recent successes in this system, and unfortunately sometimes we let temptation, maybe pride, get the best of us. I really thought that I'd be able to get them to acclimate well, get them to do really well together, and like I said, it worked until it didn't. I've always said that if I try something and it works, I'll post it here. But if I try something and it doesn't work, I'm going to post it here too. Because there should be accountability. We should be honest. We should be authentic. Even the best of us reefers, even the best channels on here have their bad days, and they make blunders. It's a part of life, unfortunately, not even just in reefing. So, hello. How are you doing today? I'm hoping that your weekend is doing pretty good. There is good news, though. I do have my first hard coral in this system, and it is a Montipora digitata. Hello, Michael and Richie. And hello to you too, CMB, CMB Games Official. I hope you guys are doing awesome today. So, even though there was that bad piece of news, I did get my first Montipora digitata, which is doing pretty good. And I do have other news too. I'm about to make some adjustments to the lighting system because, as I've discussed in the past, I am going to have Acropora in this system. And since I now have Montipora digitata, and I'm going to be getting other hard corals in here, particularly SPS, I do need to increase the power a little bit. I've had soft corals up until now, so I've kept the lights up pretty high. The thing is, they are kind of fixed in the positions they're in. They need to be made adjustable, so I've come up with a plan that's going to allow me to adjust these lights up and down. I'm going to have to build a special little unit that's going to allow me to mount these lights in such a way that the whole unit can be adjusted up and down. And I might even add a third halide in there too. We're going to see how that shakes out. I might and I might not. But at least I have everything I need pretty much to get that done if I do indeed add a third halide. The wood I will have to go and buy. But that's no big deal. Believe it or not, about 20 bucks worth of wood and I'll have this project done. Because I have the screws and everything else to do it. And in fact, I'm hoping that I'll either, when I go to upgrade the lighting from the way it is now to the way it's going to be, I am going to definitely do a video on that, and I will release that as soon as that's done. And I also have a couple other videos that I just, unfortunately, I hadn't been feeling very well lately, so I had not gotten to edit them yet. How you doing today? GV Edits. I hope you're having a great day, my friend. So, I'm thinking that probably within the next couple of weeks, you're going to see a lot more videos popping up. Hello, Alex. Yeah, thank you. I really appreciate that. I am starting to feel a little bit better. I just have had a bit of a head cold, and you know how that is. It'll just knock you right out. Yeah, absolutely. So, and hello, David. How are you guys doing? So, in the meantime, I'm doing something else that's going to seem totally crazy to you. I'm about to show you exactly what that is. Hello, Finnegan. How are you today? Oh, yeah, I agree. Oogie Boogie, definitely. Definitely that. And we're going to take you off the tripod because I want to show you the craziness momentarily that I am doing. I see my dogs want to go outside because they hear stuff out there. That's my Jake you hear in the background. That would be this guy. Love him dearly, but he's going to have to wait a minute. Crazy thing I am doing is I'm actually purposely allowing this black cyano to take hold for a little bit. Now, why the heck, after the video I just put out on dealing with cyano, would I allow this? Well, see all these fishies in here? They love eating them some pods. And between the fact that I was pretty much keeping the sand devoid of lots of algae and stuff, I was to an extent cutting down the food supply for pods in here. So I have decided, temporarily, mind you, to allow this so that the pods come back again. Now, when there's enough of them again, then I'm going to get back onto my campaign of eradicating this. But as you can see, the red cyano has not come back. And the reason I've got a lot of black cyano right now anyway is because I have been carbon dosing. Now, I do have a video in the pipeline that should be coming out, and I'm hoping to release that this week as well. It's going to be on cyanobacteria, and it's no, I did do that one already. No, carbon dosing is what I wanted to say. I have in the pipeline. And I will talk all about that and the fact that, yes, you're going to get some really weird bacteria sometimes, like that black cyano. It's something you don't see all the time, but when you do, it looks like this. And it's really, truly, if you look closely at it, let's see if we can zoom in on this a little bit. I don't know if you can see it too well, but it's actually a very dark green is what it is. It's actually a very dark green algae when you look really close. Let's see if I can zoom in just a little more. You kind of can see it in here, in this picture a little bit, but the white balance on these phone cameras are not the greatest. So, and right now you can see this guy is adjusting to its new locale, but You know, it's starting to open up a bit more now. It had been totally devoid of polyps for several days, and it's starting to come back out again. And as you can see, I glued it to the rock here, and sadly I did get a little bit of that glue here on the side and a little bit up top, as you can see. But the good news is it's, you know, like I said, coming back, and once it really takes off, it's going to encrust right over that. You'll never know that there ever was super glue here. In fact, it'll get to the point where in probably a few months, after it really starts, like I would say 3-4 months from now, you might not even know that it's on a frag plug. These things can really take off. And yes, there's a little haziness on the glass too. Like I said, I am allowing this temporarily because I do want to encourage the pod population to actually start really coming into its own. Plus, it'll benefit this coral and other SPS that I intend to have at some point. And as you can see, this guy's starting to do really good again. He's adjusting pretty good. Because if you remember, I don't know if I probably haven't told you guys yet, but I've rearranged the rock, which I had done in advance of, let me see if I can get, since this will only let me stream in vertical for some reason these days, I'm going to do like this so you guys can kind of see what I've done. I have expanded the sand area a little bit over here. And what I'm eventually going to do is, as I get SPS in and it starts really growing, some of this rock that's up top is going to start heading down into the sump so that it stays within the system. But it will also at the same time not be right up here, so that those corals will have a chance to really grow into nice colonies. Because the idea is a patch reef kind of setup. So that is pretty much what's going on these days. And as you can see, all the fishes are doing really good. I cannot believe how much this scale has grown right here. The hippo tang. That tang was smaller than that yellowfish that it's next to now. And as you can see, it's quite a bit bigger. I've had her for about 3 months, give or take. She was about, so slightly more maybe than a quarter, the diameter of a quarter. Not quite as big as a $50, probably have it like in between. She's bigger than a silver dollar now. I mean, she's almost as big as the female sergeant damsel, or sergeant major damsel that you see next to her right now. I mean, that's pretty big. So that's a beautiful thing. And as you can see, the anemones, through all the stuff on the glass at the moment, they're doing really good. So, and I don't know, you can see, but there's actually a lot of coralline that's really coming through now, and it's growing in a lot of other places. I've even found some in sump recently, because I had a little issue with the skimmer yesterday that I had to make a quick fix to. So I cleaned it out real good and did the fix that had to be done. And that was pretty much how that went yesterday. And so far, things are looking pretty good today. Now I am going to show you again. Oops, that's not going to allow me to do that. But you can kind of see how these lights are up in here. And you see how this framework is around the top, how the hood itself is. Well, there's going to be a second hood sort of like it that drops down, kind of like a double-decker chandelier type thing. Except that the double-decker part is going to be attached to two vertical pieces of wood that will have holes drilled in them so that they can be adjusted up and down. Thank you. I really appreciate that. I am enjoying this tank a lot. And even though, like I said, it looks sturdy, but there's actually a method to the madness at the moment. But like that cyano video that I did, and I encourage you to watch it if you didn't already, I wanted to show you guys how you get to white sand and how you can keep it that way. But you also want to definitely allow for some like growth in the sand bed and stuff. You want to get a good bacterial presence and such. Sure, you want to keep your sand white, but you also want the right flora and fauna in there. And while I certainly, like I said, I'm not long-term going to let it stay like this, there is a lot of beneficial bacteria in there too that's developing. So, you know, I'm not going to pull up the good stuff with the weeds, so to speak. And since I'm carbon dosing, like I said, once I stop that, or I won't stop it altogether, once I slow it down, you'll start seeing that gradually this black cyano will leave as quickly as it came. So, and these are all positives. So you guys have any questions for me? Have any of you guys thought about starting your own tanks? If you don't have one already, let me know. Let us know in the comments. And if you guys have any other questions, always feel free to ask. You can always message me or whatever. So at this point, however, I think, oh, thank you. This particular tank is 6 feet long and it's 2.5 feet wide. This one is 14 inches. Well, it has 14 inches of height inside the tank. So that's about that. It's about 14 inches of height. Now, while it doesn't seem like a lot, it is pretty massive, and the fish that are in here love it. So, and when you see what I've got planned, you all are going to love it. Plus, I also have one other thing that I'm going to be doing. I'm going to be doing a budget reefing segment coming up soon, where I'm going to start really talking a lot more about budget reefing in general. Because the reality is you truly can have an amazing tank on a budget. And yes, right now it's pretty sparse in here, but that's because, like with all tanks, it's going through its maturation phase. You know, it's got to mature. You don't want to try to put all those colorful corals in here before it's ready. Yeah, that powder blue, I love that fish. I was really fortunate to be able to get him the way that I did, and with that ick and everything. Yeah, that's definitely too small for powder blue, but I will. Some people might get on me for saying this, some might not, but a yellow tang would probably be my upper size limit for a 4x2x2. Really, you're probably better off with like a Tomini or a bristle tooth even. And there's some very beautiful ones. But yeah, you definitely in a 4x2x2, and those are beautiful tanks. I had one once. But you do definitely, your choices are a little more limited in a 4-footer. So, anyway, this is pretty much oh, that's good to know. Tamini tangs are awesome. Absolutely. I considered getting a Tamini in here. It may still happen. They are absolutely gorgeous fish. Thing is, I do want to, I'm kind of holding out right now for yellow tangs, to be honest. See, here's the thing about budget reefing, guys. It doesn't necessarily mean buying the cheapest stuff you see. It really comes down to, I mean, the way you get really cool fish and corals on a budget is that you save where you can, but you have to know what you're looking at when you buy it. You have to know your stuff. And what you save in one place, you can spend a little more in another. And you could have an amazing reef. I mean, I'll even be able to have acropora in this tank. And I'm going to talk about all of that. And I see that I'm getting a little company unexpected, so I am going to have to cut this short for now. Thank you all for coming and for watching. And, you know, if you haven't already, please do like and subscribe. It will help the channel a lot, and it'll help the dogs maybe to stop barking. All right, maybe not, but it was a nice thought. All right, guys, thank you so much. You all have a wonderful day and a wonderful week. And remember, reef smarter, not harder, and always get the best bang for the buck. That is the Budget Reefer way. Have a great day, guys.